Right. Happy Friday night. Let me get that invite out to Bobby. And then we will be ready to go. Oops. I think I'm ready to go. Copy. Okay, sorry. And then, why am I so dumb? That dumb. Okay. All right, let me just alert him to the fact that it's been sent. And okay. All right, so I probably can go for about half hour, 45 minutes maybe. Should be enough to get a handle on the slate and discuss where I'm going with it. Give you kind of a brief overview of this weekend as well. I don't know whether oh, there he is. Hey, Bobby, did you do anything with Rhodey with the football or no?
We're doing it tonight.
Wait, say that again?
We're doing it tonight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I won't be around. Okay. I may as well give a couple minutes. I'll give my football stuff.
We've got a huge baseball slate to go through, too.
Go for it.
A lot to go on here. So I have on DraftKings Gilbert, Gray, and Cease as my most owned pitchers. I'm a little worried about the Gray part of it. I have Berrios as a pivot, McGill as a pivot, and I'm going to add some Fried. I also have some Kyle Gibson and Cole. That's my pitching, and my hitting is fairly condensed with the West Coast teams. The Dodgers, Giants, I know that they're popular. I think you can still find plenty of ways to stack these teams differently. I think that, we talk about it all the time. The bottom of the order, you can't play out everybody on the outfield. I'm mixing in a lot of 2- and 3-man Oriole stacks. Mancini, Severino, and Hayes being my favorite on DraftKings. Mountcastle being my favorite, along with Hayes on Fanduel. I think that I have a Cincinnati full stack. I have a Toronto full stack, although I don't love the weather in that game. And that's pretty much it for my stacks. But mostly it's going to be the Dodgers, Giants, Rockies, some Yankee 1- and 2-mans, some Oriole 3-mans. And I'm going to get to some Philly, which I haven't done yet. And I do have Suarez and Hernandez paired in a lineup together, which I think is kind of fun.
Okay, so I'm going to go over my ownerships, but I want to bring up one thing with you, which we talked about at 12, and then you texted me about something else. So I'm just going to let you know that I ran new projections, and I also ran a couple, lineup builds through SaberSim, and believe it or not, I was getting like 15 to 20% St. Louis, even with the 7 innings, I guess because of the win.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we play home teams all the time, and if you're playing the home team, you're really only going to get 8 innings out of them, and you got the wind blowing out. I can get behind it. I'm just not doing it personally. Even 1 extra inning still feels like a little too much to give up on a 15-game slate. But I get it. I totally would support it if anybody wants to do it. I'm not going to say it's wrong. They're all cheap. They're priced like it. It's totally fine. It's just not what I'm doing.
Yeah, I ended up not doing it. I ended up manually Xing it out. Just to let you know that it's not the worst.
No, I think it's viable.
Inning thing to do. Yeah. Okay. With respect to what I'm doing on DraftKings, I have Logan Gilbert as my highest owned pitcher, and then I am hopelessly underweight on the best play on the board, which is probably Cole. But I am going to have Cease, Gibson, and that's pretty much the extent of it. I mean, I have one no shot lineup with with an unmentionable, but I have one lineup with an unmentionable.
Who is it?
Wells.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I have one with the Wells, and I do have one with one or two with Hernandez. With respect to the hitting, I am same as before. When I ran my stuff, I was getting 100% San Francisco, so I ended up manually cutting it to 50. So what that's ending up giving me is 50% Colorado. 50% San Francisco, and then my next highest is the Dodgers. And also, I manually upgraded the Reds because, quite honestly, because you like them. So I manually upgraded the Reds, so I have more of them than I otherwise would have. And Max Schrock, like as you brought up, is hitting second.
Yep.
So I have a full 25% of that. And yeah, and just as a matter of disclosure, my biggest lineup, I don't have any of that. Not don't have any of that. The biggest lineup, I actually have a little bit of a Mets mini stack, actually. So I got that going.
That's like one I didn't even cross my mind. That's interesting.
Yeah, Nemo's hitting first, and I have him with Baez. Anyway, that's what do you? So let's go to Fanduel. We'll just do the same thing. You tell me about Fanduel, I'll tell you about my Fanduel, and then we'll take some questions.
Fanduel pitching Cease, Cole, and Berrios, stacking Toronto, the San Francisco. I don't have as much of the Dodgers over there. Cincinnati and Philly makes a little sense over there as well.
Just though, in case anybody cared, not that he would have been a huge part of anybody's lineup, but Carter Kieboom is out.
Yep.
Yeah, I had him in one lineup over there, so I just wanted to.
How about this other guy though, who I've got a million one-offs of? This catcher for Miami. I mean, look, I'll ride a little hot streak. This guy hits a home run every day. He's Fortes. He hit a home run yesterday. Hit a home run the last time he started. Hit a home run the time before that he started. So 2 straight games that he started, and the other games that he came in, he's hit home runs. I think it's kind of a. I'm going to go on that minimum cost guy to get a little bit different. I don't think anybody's playing him.
For me on Fanduel, I have 45% Cease. He's my highest owned over there, followed by Gibson, and then Gray, and then a little sprinkle of Gilbert over there, and actually one lineup with Lauer over there, just for no reason. And then as far as hitting over there, it was very similar, and I ended up manually adjusting a little bit. I have 60% basically San Francisco, 40% Dodgers. But remember, like it's they're paired together sometimes. And I guess the ball. I have Baltimore, but I have a decent amount of, which is not as it's not a team I like to play, but just paired with some of these more expensive. But I do have some San Francisco. Some Arizona actually. Nothing major, but just some.
Yeah,
with respect to my big lineup, I'm just gonna throw right there. Yeah, the big lineups is pretty chalky, but it is what it is. I have Cease, and you'll see I got Dodgers, I have Orioles, and actually a one-off of Peters. It's interesting.
Kind of an interesting one. What's his price over there?
Not that cheap. He's like 2,400.
Yeah,
maybe I can upgrade.
I actually have a lot of the Arizona bats as one-offs over there and two-offs, like Calhoun, Rojas, and it's not that Gonsolin's not a pretty good pitcher, but the roof's open. These guys are way too cheap for the skill level. Probably one of the better lineups that Arizona's run outside of the Marte thing. They're actually playing Calhoun for a change. I really like what you said earlier too. I just wanted to focus on playing guys who I like. So I'm just gonna, just in full transparency, like I have like one-offs of Hilliard also.
Strong.
I think he's a really, really good hitter, and he's batting 7th, whatever. It's a lefty. I'm not worried. Like, I don't care. I just think that he's a good enough. I've got 25% of him on DraftKings. Partly that is because Luke Raley is not in the lineup for the Dodgers.
Well, let me try to upgrade a little bit without destroying the integrity of the lineup too much. If I was going to take a different $2,400 one-off in the outfield, that's not to say I can't rebuild, but
I can just tell you exactly who I took because I did the exact same thing. Exactly 2,400.
Yeah.
I think it would be between Cole Calhoun would be my number one probably.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about.
And I think that let's see, everybody else is a little bit more. Corey Dickerson I think is completely in play with the struggles of what's his name against lefties. Bailey Ober has been good against righties, really bad against lefties. So I like Dickerson. Even
so between Corey Dickerson, Pavin Smith's not as good as Calhoun, is he? Or is he?
This year he's been better. Calhoun's been hurt all year, but I like Calhoun a little bit better, but I don't think it's a big difference.
And you think all those guys are better than Peters?
Peters is fine. Like they're batting. It is a guy batting cleanup for versus a guy batting seventh. Peters, there's not really. I guess there is pinch hit risk potential. With Peters, there's not with the other guys. Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what you want to do. I'm okay with the Peters idea. Like he's a guy I play more than most people do, but I'm not like in love with him today. I do like that game though, so I think that having some exposure to it is okay. I just would rather play a 2,400 cleanup hitter in a good hitter's park, and he's got a good hitter's park, and he's got the platoon in his advantage and everything. Just not what I'm doing personally.
I'm gonna pull up Calhoun for a second here. Boy, he looks so old.
The platoon does. I'm gonna mute this thing. In his advantage. Well, I guess everybody's on to football. We have this is the fewest group we've ever had. Guys, get in the chat and don't make us.
It's Friday also.
It's Friday, but we usually get a pretty good turnout on Fridays, and like and subscribe and all that nonsense too.
Once they found that I was coming, they decided they don't want to come anymore. I think.
Wait, what you said?
Once they found that I was going to be here, they're like, "Well, we don't want to deal with sheets." So
trickle in. They usually come in, and we'll start getting some people in. Let's go, Rody. Let's get it. Project Mayhem. Let's get the money, man. Let's do it. I feel good about this slate. I'm not feeling like I wish I had some way off the board takes and everything like that. But you can play guys who are in the teens of ownership especially when you're pairing them with. And I'm looking at the Baltimore ownership on these guys, and there's really that's who I'm using as my pairing side. There's nobody going to be 10.
You know what? I have something to say, okay? Because I probably have to leave by 15, 20 minutes, whatever. And I probably, yeah. Well, we're probably. I mean, look, if you guys will do your football later, I'm not going to be a part of that. And I'll probably be here at 11. It's 11:30 Sunday to go over it. But I wanted to say something to you. And this is like me just talking to Bobby, but whatever it is. Shoot. So I have and we talk about this a lot, when you feel like you're struggling and then you're like, oh my God, I have all these plays. Why didn't I play them? Like only like 10 different times over the past month did you have these freaking amazing plays that you either talked yourself out of or just didn't play them or just got involved in something else. So as I was going through my DraftKings, my projections or whatever it is, there was a running back that's popping for me. It's like, maybe third or fourth best value on the slate. So he's probably going to be really popular. And the guy's name is Mike Davis. I want to suggest something to you, Bobby. Just freaking play freaking Cordell Patterson like you told me 5 days ago. I mean, I'm totally going to do it. I'm totally going to do it. Everything you said made sense, and you were so confident about it when you said it that even if this projections never change, even if no one else gets on, even or whatever, if that's the perfect guy that if he freaking comes in and you don't have it, you're just going to kill yourself. Okay, so I am totally invited, especially considering Mike Davis is now all of a sudden Mike Davis is like a freaking tremendous play since freaking when. So I am totally going to recommend to you that whatever you are going to end up with when Cordell Patterson, it should be more.
I appreciate that. He's in a majority of my early builds, so I do appreciate that one. I really like that game too. You talked me into that. Like I think that we're going to see more of the work go to Barkley this week. So I kind of like the idea of playing both those guys at running back for cheap, and then you can do a bunch of other things.
Yep,
I like that. OX Couch, who must be related to our old friend Eric Johnson, says Boston and Cleveland stacks tonight. Let's go. There is a thing in baseball where you stack against the top pitcher or whatever. I don't think you should ever do it on 15-game slates when it's Garrett Cole. And C's, I could make an argument you could take some bats against him, but I don't think there's any reason to just because you don't want to do something, just don't play the pitchers. You can get different with a million other stacks. Like you take last night, for example, on a small slate, Pittsburgh, sure, they crushed Nola. So not playing Nola would have been a good idea. But does that mean the Pittsburgh stack is the best stack? No. It's just not the way that the game works. And I don't think I think the odds are pretty low of the Red Sox and the Indians being the highest scoring teams tonight, or teams that produce the most fantasy value. I don't mind if you want to take a bat against those guys. I just don't think it's the optimal thing to do. Sheets, correct me if you feel any differently.
Yeah, it's like we talk about leverage a lot. If there's some times where you want to really just go double leverage against the whatever. Like for example, I ended up not going to do it, but like if you really thought Logan Gilbert was like going to be huge chalk and you really didn't like him, then if you wanted to, you could go total double leverage against him by playing hitters against him. But if you're trying to go against like a stud pitcher, you know what I mean? You're really asking for a lot. You know what I mean? It's just as easy instead of to play Cole to play, if you don't like Cole, play friggin' Montas, you know what I mean? Or just build differently a pitcher. That's enough leverage against him. But the problem, he's not going to be really high owned. So
but if you want to play an unowned team, play the A's, play the Braves. Right. Play guys against nothing pitchers and against teams that don't have anything to play for, rather than the Yankees, who even if you get to Cole and you get a couple home runs off of them, you're going to see every best arm they have in their bullpen. Yeah. Whereas in San Diego, right, and this time of year, it's really key. In Houston, even they don't have anything to play for anymore. So you don't need to get their best stuff. Pitcher breakdown. Any Bialik coming in for Greinke? I actually think, or Bielak, I should say. I think I actually know how to pronounce his name, so I probably should do it. I'm not playing any Bielak. I'm sticking. Bielak has not pitched more than 3 innings in a game this year, so that would be a pretty terrible decision to me on a big slate. Now, could it happen? Sure. I don't see any reason why it will. So I would not play any Bielak personally. I would rather play Carlos Hernandez, who actually he's not like he's going to be that owned anyway. Or I would play Suarez, who I mentioned is the sort of the forgotten guy here. It's pretty interesting to me because of Gilbert's ownership. And I'm just telling you, just look at the game logs of Suarez. Tell me this guy doesn't have a freaking ceiling against a team that we were targeting all year with lefties, although they've improved, to their credit, the second half of the year, Seattle. Like, you've got lefties in this lineup, too, for them. I mean, you've got Clinic, you've got Seager. Actually, I guess they only have 2. No, the Crawford's in there as lefty. And Torrens is batting 5th, probably, for Seattle. Like, there's spots you can attack there. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of ways you can go with that whole thing. Yeah, anyway.
Again, just a couple of other quick announcements. For those of you that follow this, Chan put up a soccer video. It's pretty in depth, actually. And I'm actually playing tomorrow. I'm going to play some soccer in part, in decent part, based on a couple of his recommendations. So I encourage all of you guys to get in there and look at that. If in fact you do play soccer. What else?
Project Mayhem asked us to break down the pitching again. I'll just go through my exact ownerships right now, because I don't. Gilbert, I've got at 42%. Cole, I've got 20%. C's, I'm gonna get, but I have more of him than that. It's in the higher buy and stuff. I think I'm gonna end up with like 30%, maybe a little higher on Cole. 30% Cease, 30% Gray, 15% Suarez, 15% Hernandez, 20% Gibson, 10% McGill, 10% Freed, and 15% Barrios. I'm
going to do mine a little differently to talk about the pitchers. So I'm going to talk about what I have, and then I'm going to talk about what I like. And again, because who I think are the best pitchers might necessarily be played as much, because if I want to prioritize hitting, and that type of thing. So just in a vacuum, this is my take. In a vacuum, I have Gilbert as the best value, the best pitcher, the best value, followed by Cease, Gray, and Gibson. Okay. However, there are lower owned options. Like, for example, I think Cole's going to be lower owned compared to his what his projection is. You know what I mean? So I do like Cole. Again, even though I'm in a vacuum, Cole might not be as good of a value as those guys. I do like him for his ceiling. Hernandez, I think, is a really just super duper strong, like, I won't say leverage play, but like pivot. Like, I'll give an example. I'll just show you guys just for the hell of it, just for this is one time. So here's like a listing of my pitchers, and I see like Hernandez is a $5,500 pitcher, and Gilbert is 6,400, and they're pretty close with respect to values or whatever. But the ownership is like 1/3, and me just even visually when I see like guys close enough and 1/3 the ownership, I think that's really really strong. And I think Bobby's play is extremely strong, even though he's not showing up for me so much in my projections. But to go Suarez, that's even going to be lower owned than Hernandez, I think. Yeah. So I think that's we talk about pivots, we talk about leverage. If you want to, if you didn't like Gilbert, if you want to do something different, yeah, you could play the Angels, like straight up hitting against him, or you could go for something like Hernandez or the pivot off the pivot, which is freaking Suarez. So I think that's a really good call, and that's the. I'm actually going to manually do that right now.
Yeah, it's an easy pivot, and I think that, like, look, it doesn't need to work out that he outscores. If he just outscores him 1 out of 5 times, if he actually outscores him 1 out of 10 times, statistically, you're still right to play him. Actually, 1 out of 17 at their current ownership projections. I think it's a really sharp move to try to play a little bit of Suarez. I'm not going crazy with that. I said 15%, but maybe it ends up around 20, and he is in one of my 250s for what it's worth, with Hernandez, by the way. And that's another thing you could do. You could play both of those guys in the same game. Gilbert, they're so cheap at these prices.
Well, excuse me, but you hit this right on the head. Listen, I don't know what you have going early, whatever it is, but if you have Gilbert and you're sucking, you should 100% switch to Suarez.
Yeah, that's what you do. 100%. Totally agree. If you have Gilbert and your teams are doing absolutely nothing, and you'll have time to know a little bit of that anyway. It's harder for Colorado and the Dodgers, but if Baltimore gets shut out or something like that for me, or Cincinnati on those lineups, or Toronto on those lineups, I do want to make sure when we get off, just say it to me. Tell me to play a little Philly. I need to get the Philly stuff in my head. I think that I'm not playing any Philly right now, and that's probably a mistake.
Phillies. Who would be the main guy to use on there? Just the whole team?
I think it's just really the team, because I don't love stacking against bullpen games, but this has like been one of the epically worst bullpens since they basically had nothing to play for, Pittsburgh. Maybe I don't need to get it in my big buy-in stuff. I don't love it. That's like you just said. You said who's are we trying to get? And it's true. Like, I mean, Herrera, McCutchen, and Harper, obviously, but he's expensive. Other than Real Muto, and even him, like, do we really want to play him over Posey? Do you want to play him over Will Smith? There's all the guys there I can make a strong case against, but at the same time, we've seen this Pittsburgh team just give up double-digit runs a million times in similar situations. That's the only reason, I guess, to justify it.
I'm going to tell you what, just for funsies, just in case as I'm going out, and if I forget to change things or whatever, I am putting Suarez in one of my bigger ones, because that will allow me to get off of this terrible one-off I have here and get into this kind of one-off, which is right like this. Brendan Rodgers, he can't be a terrible player, right? Okay. Okay. So he's going to be put in over there. That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to talk about ways to get different with stacks, I'm happy to go through a whole thing, but there's a bunch of ways you can get different in your stacks, in your popular stacks tonight. I'm just going to put this in a small buy-in because it's like I just noticed that the lineup I was trying to get the Phillies in doesn't need to be the Carlos Hernandez Suarez one. You know what I mean? Like, that shouldn't be the one to do with. But the way you get different with the Dodgers stack, for example, I mean, it's pretty simple. You play the bottom of the order. They're not going to have nearly the ownership. I'm looking at the projections right now, and you'll get guys less than 10% if you're going to play the Dodgers. And Gavin Lux and AJ Pollock are really good hitters. This is not a situation we should, be afraid of playing them. The other ones, I don't think Justin Turner batting 6th is going to get as much ownership. So play Justin Turner. I don't think that I don't think Who else is not going to get crazy owned? Those are pretty much those ones. Oh, and Muncy. Muncy will be less owned because of his price in relation to the other first baseman. That you can either go Cron for cheap or you can go to Brandon Belt at $200 cheaper. So I think Muncy, Turner, Pollock, Lux, who, by the way, happen to probably be my 4 highest owned Dodgers, other than Seager, because they're going to be the lowest owned. Just simple as that. And the other one with the Giants, you play Yastrzemski at 4.6 instead of Wade in some lineups. You play Longoria, but you play Longoria with Chris Bryant in the outfield. Going to get a little bit lower ownership that way because they cross positions, and that's pretty much the way I would recommend it. Just you're getting the bottom of the order, and then play Brandon Crawford, because people are not going to play Brandon Crawford at shortstop today.
Dylan Carlson is 2,100. Just throw that out there.
I think that's actually something I might do, because I've got my big line. In one of my big lineups right now, I currently have Brandon Walsh as a placeholder, but I think Dylan Carlson might be the better play there. I'm still sort of struggling with the minimum cost guys, and we don't have a lineup from Eagles yet. Is Carlson officially in the lineup?
No.
He probably will be. I mean, I can't imagine he wouldn't be, but he's also been hitting the ball.
They played a doubleheader today, right?
Yeah.
So Molina might not be in or something, right?
Well, did they win the first game?
I don't know. There was 8-5. I don't know who actually won though.
They've won every other game, so if they're still winning games, I'd imagine they'd probably put their best foot forward. I mean, they still have to hold on to their playoff spot. So even if Molina's not in, that just means probably more pinch hit likeliness. Yeah, I think I do want to do. I think I kind of like the idea of the Carlson. You kind of talked me into it a little bit.
If he plays,
I'm assuming he plays. Not like anybody's playing Walsh anyway. I can just do either. What time does that game start? Let me just see real quick. 8:05. I would love to get an Angels lineup, but you know what? We're never going to get an Angels lineup when we want one.
Nope.
They're just the worst. They're the nut low.
Do we have a Reds? We have a Reds lineup probably, right? Yeah, okay. Oh, Indy is a very, very healthy 5,400. Wow.
Yep. Yeah, it's an interesting slate. You're going to get low ownership on all those guys. Molina didn't start the first game, by the way. Good job there, Tony. Thanks for that one.
Who, Molina?
Yeah, so Molina probably will play. DK only for the Chicago game. Yeah, that's right. We don't have that on Fanduel. So just to go through some player ownerships that I've got right now, it's pretty heavy. I've got 35% Justin Turner. I've got 45% Trey Turner. I've got 20% Mancini, 35% Seager, 20% Pollock. 30% Pollock, 45% Lux, 20% Hayes, 50% Wade, 40% Story, 40% Longoria, 35% Listella, 40% Belt, which is probably going to be lower by the time I'm done, and 35% Posey, and 35% of Chris Bryant as well.
Yeah, my highest owned guys are all San Francisco's because, as I said, I was going to get 100% of them, but I manually cut them down to 50, so that's what I got. All of them. I mean, Crawford, Longoria, Bryant, Yaz. I have a little less. He's hitting 8th. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm trying to force him into something. Like, I see these Wade ownerships in my stacks, and I'm just going to switch that. Instead of having 50% of Wade, I'm going to turn that into 20. I actually do have 20% of Yastrzemski. It was just pretty. I mean, that's a healthy percentage for a guy who's going to be like 3% owned. I also have 25% of Hilliard too in the lefty at the bottom of the order in my Rocky mini stacks.
Yeah, Wood looks so tough to hit as a lefty. You know, he's got that delivery.
Yep.
Yeah, I have like one lineup with a couple of Dodgers. Not a big deal though. I mean, not Dodgers. Red Sox. Not a big deal. I've won like Martinez, Verdugo, 2-man.
Trying to find a good third base one-off to pair with my. I can't quite get it. It's frustrating.
How about Ursa?
I don't need that to go that low.
Oh, okay. Oh, well then, you don't mean get like guys like Turner and Longoria, right?
I already have 5 Dodgers.
Ooh, how about right back to the hot head hitter? How about back to Brian Hayes?
That's who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I think that actually is a pretty good and sharp move. Also, you get a little. I mean, there's not going to be any ownership anyway, but I like Brian Hayes. I don't know how he only has 6 home runs this season.
Well, he had one last night against Noah, that's for sure.
He had a big one last night. That's true. Yeah, I probably should find a way to get Longoria. The 2v2 swap that I'm really struggling with here.
Who and who?
Will Smith and Elias Diaz for the Rockies, or Will Smith and blank, either Suarez, Hayes, or Elias Diaz and Turner. I think I prefer the Elias Diaz and Turner. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I didn't get to as much of the Yankees as I was hoping I was going to.
I'm literally looking at a Yankee lineup as you say that. It's so funny. I'm looking at it when I have it's the normal guys. Judge. I have a Judge. I don't have a Stanton in this one though. I have a Judge, Gallo, Urshela, Torres. The old Yankees Kansas City pairing. The old Yankee Kansas City pairing leaving 700 on the table variation.
I'm confused at what Tony just said about the Braves Padres suspended. What?
Right. So okay, yeah, it's a very good question. So
what is it?
I think it's the same question as the Cardinals game, right? Is the second game after Braves Padres going to be 9 innings or 7 innings?
No, it'll be a 9-inning game.
Okay.
I mean, finishing a game is not the same as playing a doubleheader. But it probably means it's unlikely for lineups. And that's the other thing you can do. If your pitchers get crushed early, if you're playing Cole, let's say, throw in the Braves instead of the other game, instead of the Rockies, something like that. I think the Braves are like the most viable stack that no one's going to touch. The Braves and the A's are the two that stand out to me that no one is going to play.
By the way, I posted this this article in the NASCAR Discord. It really is a tremendous story. One of the truck drivers needed to get sponsorship for his truck for this so he could race this weekend, and he couldn't find anything, and he literally took you got to read it. He sought out this professional gambler to kind of help him. And he says, listen, any chance you could sponsor me, give me $10,000 for my car? It's like, no, but if you put up your own money, I'll meet you in Vegas. We'll try to run it up. And it's about the two of them literally went to Vegas with this professional gambler. They tried to run up the money, and they lost it all. Then they run it up again. They lost it all. And they ended up making enough money to put himself in the Truck Series race tonight. Crazy.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
Freaking Degen City. Yeah, awesome stuff.
Yeah, that's great stuff.
Any under the radar stats tonight? Yeah, I guess.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Cincinnati, Toronto, which shouldn't be under the radar, but kind of is always ends up a little lower on because the pricing. Cincinnati, Toronto, Philly, and I mentioned the Braves and the Braves and and Oakland, but I'm just not doing much of it. But those would be the guys I would choose.
Who is a good? I'd like a catcher around 3K. Oh, well, that's easy. It's either Severino or Hosha. Got to be Severino. I mean,
Severino. He's the guy. Yeah. For me.
Yep. Barnhart, Perez. Does Perez have 50 home runs or no? No, 46. That's great stuff, man. You know how long that record's held? I mean, that he broke the bench you know how long ago Johnny Bench played? And that's so long ago.
I know. He's awesome, man. What a hitter that guy is.
That swings it so hard.
He's also like he's like one of the best. I don't. Why aren't they better? He's like one of the best defensive catchers like around too. Like he got everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, the good news is that I'm looking at my lineups and almost everybody is checkmarked.
Nice.
Well, that's always good news. Who am I waiting on? Cardinals, right? I just have like one Cardinal. I have one lineup with Molina. That's the only. Oh, and I've
Carlson.
1-2-man Angels that are just waiting for players. That's it.
Yeah.
So I'm in good shape there. Fanduel, I might as well recite my exposures over there. I have a full 40% of the Dodger people. You know, whether it be Muncy, Turner, Seager. Pretty much same with San Francisco, and a lot of Baltimore.
Yeah. I'm trying to will my what's his name into a bunch of my lineups right now. Will Smith.
Okay.
I wasn't with words, but I really think that's a spot you want to take advantage of here. This is a guy I really like the Dodgers tonight, and I even with the Colorado stuff lately, you could see that I'm hesitant and more nervous. And look, sure they could put up a dud. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, but it's not as if it's not that they underperformed their implied total. The only one game did they fall under their implied total.
I know, it just wasn't as people were hoping for the 12-run outburst. Yeah. Just didn't get it.
Yeah. I mean, you can't be upset if you don't get a ceiling. You know what I mean? Like,
right. No, I hear you.
What do we got here? Chasing tickets with Dodgers and San Fran. Yeah, you're gonna have to cheat. You have to be really precise with your chasing, man. I'm just saying. I mean, you play those teams.
You got to get the right parts of the order.
You really gotta be an ownership wizard to get that one done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah, that's it. In fact, that's what I figured you would say.
What did he say?
He's going to play Lauer or something like that at pitcher.
Yeah. Yeah, he's actually going to be owned a little bit.
Oh, there's overlay? Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
Hilliard.
Sonny Gray.
I don't have much of the Dodgers and Giants together, which I actually do have one, but it's my Hernandez. It's my doubled punting guys. You know what I mean? It's my Suarez and Hernandez.
Yeah, you know who I have too much of? I definitely. Well, maybe you brought him up, I guess, but I have too much Zona, I think, on FanDuel. But
you have too much Arizona, you think?
Yeah, definitely have too much Arizona. But I gotta have too much of somebody.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think it's the worst thing, man. I really don't.
Yeah, you got a Suarez. That's what you're saying, Rody. You got a Suarez. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Suarez is. I mean, people aren't doing that one. Goldschmidt, O'Neill, Arenado. Oh, it looks like we do not have, oddly enough, Dylan Carlson in the lineup.
Ooh, I'm glad I didn't play him then.
You can trade him for the Lars Nootbaar.
That's true.
If you need to do so.
Crone.
This feels more like a Dodger going off game than the Colorado games did to me. I really am. I'm talking myself into it more and more the more I think about it. All right. Go ahead, shoots. What?
Who's pitching for Milwaukee? Lauer, huh?
Lauer. I am going to get out of here and finish building some lineups because I get a little too distracted and it's going to be silent on my end.
Okay.
All right. Good luck, everybody. Good luck, Sheets. Guys, let's have a great finish to the baseball season. We got one more week. That's it. Good luck, everybody.
I got one more thing I'm going to try to do here. I'm going to try to change one thing in my big buy-in on DraftKings here. If I can find a good $2,500 outfielder on DraftKings, this will make this all work. I mean, it's not the greatest, but Ortega Rooker. Is that the worst idea in the world? Could play O'Hearn. How bad is that? It can't be that bad, right? So I got this little 5-man. How about we build this with just the best play at each position? So I need a catcher, and I got to go to a catcher, a second baseman, and an outfielder. So let's just put this in here like this. I'll show you guys what I have, and let's just see what this all looks like. So it actually has Brandon Marsh, but I don't need to do that. First of all, who is the best catcher? Now that I opened up my big mouth here, it's going to be Posey, but let's say it's not Posey. That Fortes guy, Stassi, Collins, and this McCann against that Brewer bullpen. Elias Diaz. I think Severino's a good play. Let's use him. So we'll put Severino in. He's only 3,100. And then we could play that other Baltimore character, right? I think this is what's going to work. So the best Baltimore outfielder is going to be, well, it's going to be Mullins, but he played Velika 2K. Wow. I don't even need to do that, though. So we play Mullins, and then we can get a second baseman that maybe I like. Is it possible? We play Park against Gibson. No. We could play Velika. I want to play Velika for some reason. We'll play Velika. I could almost move up in pitchers. But if instead I went to Suarez instead of Gilbert, am I really talking to myself, right? But it's okay. I can talk to myself. No, let's go back to Gilbert. It's just a better play. So if I go back to Gilbert, who is, where did he go? 6,300? Gilbert, and then I have 1,200 left on the table. I don't know who else to play at second base, though. Second base, 3,200. It's a nice, sweet little one-off. I don't want to play against anybody against Bieber. I don't want to play anybody against Cole. I don't want to play against Cease. I could play Solak and almost have what I want. It depends on, ooh, this could be interesting. Let me see how much this, no, almost. I'm almost there. Well, I could always play a Rosarena, right? Against Cabrera. All right. That looks like fun. Okay. Sounds good to me. All right. St. Louis outfield. Yeah, I get it. Only 7 innings, though. I don't know if I want to do that. Does this look good? Yeah, this looks good to me. All right, guys. Good luck, and I'll see.